CEO of Zima Produce. Right now, I'm working on my feature film, Internal Discourse, and today I just want to take out a little bit of time and speak about one of the characters that I'm looking forward to casting and doing auditions for. Their role is for a well-known character, I'd say, within the black community. There's someone, whenever you go to the corner store or drive through certain communities, you're always going to see that older black male kind of hanging out at the store and doing his own thing. And sometimes it's a group of them. And this particular character makes me think about a certain film that Spike Lee did. If I'm not mistaken, it was Do the Right Thing. But essentially, there are some gentlemen sitting outside of the store. It's a nice bright red background, and they're just conversating. And so I'm actually gonna try to recreate that scene with a little bit of a twist to it. And so the scene that transpires with this particular character in my film is a situation where Boyce, the main character, and Officer Washington, his partner, have just left the scene. They realize they don't have any water, and they decide to go to a corner store and just pick up some water. So really it's supposed to be a quick scene, just stop by. And so the two officers walk up to the store, and essentially the old heads, or that's what I refer to as that character's title, is just old head 1 and old head 2, because it's going to be two of them talking. And if I'm not mistaken, I think old head 1 said something like, and yeah, segregation was the worst thing that happened to black folk. And so Officer Washington is walking by as he says that, and it catches his ear. And so he's like, hold up, what'd you say? And the old dude repeats himself, and he's just like, I said segregation was the worst thing that happened to black folk. And then they pretty much go off into a conversation about that. And so that conversation talks about the community, the black community, because prior to segregation, there was more structure within the black community in terms of infrastructure, in terms of economy, in terms of revenue, in terms of wealth, income. It's a time when the black dollar circulated. And so they briefly touch on how we were impacted by segregation, and then they definitely touch on but a lot of the historically black and wealthy communities that, that prospered in the late 1800s and early 1920s. So they talk about certain communities, like you had Happy Hill in North Carolina, you had U Street in Washington, D.C., you had Nelson Street in Mississippi, you had Mount Bayou in Mississippi, you had Harlem, of course. We always hear about Harlem, or you hear about Black Wall Street. And so they kind of go back and forth just naming off different communities, but it's just to bring light to and talk about the fact that it's not just Black Wall Street. There's many across the nation, well-known black communities. I feel like any ghetto or hood you go to in America, you're going to find the remnants of just black excellence, and you're going to find that in the history of the buildings. Like, for Roanoke, for instance, you go down Henry Street, and just knowing that they had, 200 plus, businesses. But now if you go there today, it's just not prevailing as it once was. And, all you got to do is do the research. And so the research that I've done gets brought out definitely in this scene. And so it's an important character, an important role. I feel like it's going to be a very educational point in the film, very insightful point in the film, maybe controversial. I don't know. Like I said, that statement, segregation being the worst thing that ever happened to black people, that may come off as controversial, but regardless, that's just an expression, that I make within the film. And so once again, I'm definitely looking to cast this character who I've named Old Head 1 and Old Head 2 to have this conversation filmed and shot at a corner store in Gainsborough. And so if you know someone that may fit that role, fit that character of, that elderly gentleman that fits that role, then definitely reach out, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Just reach out however. I'm making it an effort to keep up with all my social media platforms, so just reach out whenever, however, and I'll do my best to get back. And definitely, while you're at it, support the GoFundMe. Again, we have a budget of $15,000 we were working towards getting, and I appreciate you watching, tuning into the video. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you again.